Alright guys, I'm back with another video. This is a little quick drive, 23 minutes. I'm going from Brooklyn to Brooklyn. Just wanted to talk about some things on the way there, and we'll see how FSD can take care of Brooklyn. I mean, I live in Brooklyn, but this is my last customer. I also did want to talk about, I do see a lot of the version 4 hardware 4 and version 14 cars getting a newer version of FSD, which is great, but kind of feeling left out. We're in June, right? We're in, what is this, the second week of June? Actually no, we're in the third week of June. Let me just double check my calendar where we're at in June. Yeah, we're going on the third week in June. So, I mean, they said that we were going to get 14 light in June or towards the end of June. So let's see if that happens, because kind of feeling a little left out here when you see all of these hardware 4 cars getting an update for hardware for version 14. I think they're getting version 14.3, 0.4, or the other way around. Not 100% sure, but I've seen a couple of videos, and you know, they are changing a little bit of things. I mean, like I said, I would love to know and get the clarity of what direction they are going, as in the sense if they are going to, you know, give us 14 light, and if they're going to do the upgrades, the free upgrades for people that like myself that have the FSD for life, because it would let me know clear cut that they're not, I'm gonna go get a 14. I mean a hardware 4 car rather. So I mean, I would love to be able to do videos and have the extra little features. Like I said, I mean, the main thing right now, until we get unsupervised, for me would be the little, you know, little features that they have, like you know, full point to point, where I can literally just get in, start from park, and go. Look at this Lucid. That's I don't see too many Lucids as a cab too often, but that's a taxi as a Lucid. Like, that's just like, you don't see too many. I mean, you do see Teslas as cabs and Ubers and things like that, but you don't see Model S's as Ubers too often. You don't see even the long range, you know, well, I don't think it's considered a long range, but you just don't see Model S's usually as taxis too often. You see Model Ys, you see Model 3s. I've personally never seen a Model X as a Uber as well, neither. You don't normally see those cars. So to see a Lucid as a taxi, that's, you know, definitely cool. A little strange though. But yeah, I would love to get some of the features that they have, and I do feel like right now where this version does need some refinement. It seemed to have gotten much better from when this first update did come out, but I do see some issues that sometimes is quite annoying, you know. It is what it is. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not something that's gonna make me not want to use FSD, but some of the things are quite annoying, and it's really the lane changing. Lane changing is just so sometimes just really annoying. Also, it is sometimes me, because like today, the car, I thought the car was trying to get in the middle lane for no reason, but it was actually for a reason. But majority of the times, it just is trying to get in lanes that it doesn't need to get in. All right, sometimes where it's sitting at, it's perfectly fine, especially in traffic. When you're in heavy traffic, there's really no reason for the car to be bouncing around, whether it's on hurry or not. Maybe I'll try when I'm in traffic to take it off of hurry. And what is this guy doing? Keep driving, buddy, so we can get behind you. Oh, it's the guy on the bike that he was worried about. So look, I mean, that right there was just a perfect example of what I've always talked about, how FSD is very pedestrian friendly. But as you see, even that regular driver, he didn't know what that biker was doing, because the biker, technically they're supposed to be on the right hand side, or the side closest to the cars on the side, the parked cars. They're not supposed to ride in the middle of the street by the double yellow lines. So that guy crossed over and was in the middle of the double yellow lines, and the guy in the van, he slowed down. So he didn't know what was going on, or what that guy necessarily was doing on the bike. So he kind of was, you know, aiming with precaution, which is funny, is I've talked about that plenty of times with FSD, where it does the same thing. So we really can't knock it, because it's hesitant around pedestrians when we don't know what these people are going to do sometimes. You know, I've seen people on those bikes, they, you know, they're riding and then they're swerving, you know, and so if you don't slow down, if you don't be precautious around them, you can hit one of them. So I totally get FSD being precautious around pedestrians. It's just that sometimes I think it does over exaggerate. Sometimes it definitely over exaggerates, but I get it. It gets scared. I was just watching a YouTube where this guy has I forgot the YouTuber's name, because I do want to give people their credit. Let me look it up real quick, because I was watching it yesterday when I was charging the car. So let me see real quick. Let me go to my page. Oh, history's right here. So pushing. Is this it? Yeah, this is the guy. Hold on. His name is David Moses AI, I believe. But yeah, he did a nice little video with he was basically stressing FSD out by, he had his friend with a dummy, and he was driving by. Ow. There we go with that herky-jerkiness again. And that's one of the things that right there, that doesn't make sense. Either you power through or you just slow down. It should not be so indecisive this far along in FSD software right now. But what the guy was doing was he was taking a dummy and throwing it out in front of the car at the last moment and seeing how the car would react. And the car was swerving, you know, sometimes if it could stop, it would stop on a dime. And you know, most of the other times it was just, if it couldn't stop on a dime, if the car felt it couldn't stop on a dime, it would swerve at the last moment. And like I said, that all plays into how I feel that FSD is super friendly and super cautious around pedestrians, you know, because in that situation, that it was responding in 0.13 of a millisecond. So, you know, that's super fast. You know, most people cannot respond that fast, and most people aren't even paying attention. you know, the way he was setting it up was he had his friend, like, so we're driving right now and we see this parked Toyota. Is that a Toyota? No, sorry, that's a Subaru. Subaru, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, Forester. It was Subaru Forester right there. He was driving an FSD, and he had his friend like hiding in front of the car or by a tree and just throwing the dummy out at the last moment, which that could be an example of a kid darting out in front of you, you know, chasing a ball, you know, you know, these kids are knuckleheads. Sometimes they're playing with each other and they're running from one another and they're running out into the street. I see it all the time. So it could be something simple to something like that, and the car was reacting really, really well, and that's really great. I mean, I honestly think that Hardware 3 would react very much similar, being that it is so cautious around pedestrians. Any hint or any sign of a pedestrian, this car is like, nah, I'm gonna slow down, I'm not gonna do anything. It's so I feel that it would do very much the same like that guy's video, because there's times there's pedestrians that's literally on the full left side of the walkway rather, and I could go and FSD will slow down and let them cross. So FSD is definitely cautious around pedestrians, you know. But like I said, I've always said I don't mind it. It is just annoying that sometimes, like, you'll drive by a person that's walking on the side of the road and the car won't do anything. Then there's times it'll drive by another person on the road and then it's slowing down, or it's jamming on the brakes hard to slow down. And it's like, come on, you just drove by a person. People on bikes sometimes freaks it out, you know, where if they're coming at you, usually when they're riding in the same direction that you're going, usually the car is fine. But it's when people are coming at you on those bikes or those scooters and things like that is what sometimes makes the car really freak out or get nervous, and it doesn't know what to do. So definitely feel like this car would possibly do something very similar. But yeah, it was pretty impressive watching that video. And like I said, he was on the latest version of version 14. He was on the latest version of that for Hardware 4. So like I said, I mean, I would love to get some of those features. So far we're you know, we got 14 minutes left in the drive, and other than the herky jerky, which once again, it's very rare it happens, but it does happen. It's like I said, is it annoying? Yeah, it's very annoying. But is it something that you can't live without or live with? Of course you can. The thing is, I didn't see that yellow to just be ready to push the gas. I'm surprised, but like I said, once again, there goes the consistency. Sorry, I'm thirsty, because that was kind of late in the yellow for it to even second guess itself, where I've seen it take yellows way sooner than that, you know. But like I said, the consistency, if it was consistent, if I knew, okay, yellow lights, it's just gonna always slow down or jam on the brakes or do the herky jerky, I would be prepared for it. But it's just inconsistent of what it's actually doing sometimes, whether it's actually gonna slow down, whether it's gonna slam on the brakes, or it's gonna start doing the herky jerky, which usually it never even does the herky jerky. It's usually it'll slow down, it'll just get on the brakes hard. The other time that it's done the herky jerky was that day I did the Hardware 4 and Hardware 3 video. It did that, but that's not the norm. It normally would just get on the brakes hard. It usually is pretty decisive, where I would rather it take the light, but sometimes it's like, no, we're not running that yellow. And I get it, you know, but I would rather it be more consistent and know what is it that makes it take the light and sometimes not, you know. But I've always said that Brooklyn is one of the harder places to drive, because everybody's always in the street. You have people they just so in a rush that they are trying to get ahead and walk behind the car or walk in front of the car. It happens a lot out here. So there was a Model X right there. Now we're passing a Cybertruck. sometimes when I'm driving by and I have my, I don't know if people can see the camera or if they can tell I'm in FSD, because they be like looking like, and they have mouth be dropped. I think China has a good feature with their FSD in cars, that they have, when cars are in FSD, they have to display a blue light, so everyone knows that's around that car that they're using FSD, which is cool. I would, it's funny is that I watched that video, and I kind of have mixed feelings about that, as in a sense I would like people to know that I'm in FSD, but in the same sense I wouldn't, because I feel like people would know that I'm in FSD and they would try to bully the car even more, because they know that FSD is going to be more defensive and more passive. So like when you're merging or when you're getting off of an off ramp or exit, and you know how people like to last minute jump ahead and merge onto into that exit or entrance or whatever, I know that if they see, oh, this car is in FSD, they're gonna definitely try to do it, because they know that FSD, and most people know that Teslas are going to be very passive. They're going to let you go by. They're going to let you jump in, you know. So I know that if out here, people would definitely take advantage of it. But it is a cool to feature to know if a car is in FSD or not, because I definitely think that all the time, where I'm driving and I see other Teslas and I'm like, I wonder if they're in FSD. I wonder if they're using FSD. Some people you can definitely tell that they're using it. Some people you can't, you know. Some people actually still use FSD and they actually do hold the steering wheel. Some people don't, you know. You have some people that I could tell they're using it because they got their cell phone up, right, like right in their face, like. So I know they're definitely using FSD, you know. They don't have no hands on the steering wheel. They got their cell phone up in their face, you know. Or I've seen people watching videos, you know. You could tell those people are in FSD, but there's other people that's, you know, sometimes it's hard to tell if they're in FSD. And some people still do just regularly drive their car. Sometimes I have to take over because people are bullying. You know, sometimes when I'm, you know, when it's heavy traffic, you know, Tesla is definitely always going to leave that space, that gap. So people definitely, I always say it, people always play the gap. You know, people are always so impatient. They, you know, they want to get ahead. They want to get ahead, and they want to, you know, sit there and change lanes 10 million times. And, you know, sometimes it's just really not necessary, and they create and cause more traffic, you know. So this street right here, Rogers, is one of those streets that it drives me nuts with FSD, because there's so many double parked cars. And what I've noticed is that FSD, so this is a bus lane to the right and the regular lane is to the left. There's, like, look at this car. This car, I don't know if he's just double parked or they actually broke down. They might be broke down. But FSD sometimes doesn't know or doesn't make up its mind whether it wants to be in the bus lane, which right now it should not be in the bus lane, which is doing a good thing, because it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and it's 6:51, so in 10 minutes we can get in the bus lane. But technically right now, if you're in the bus lane and one of those cameras pick you up, you can get a ticket. So technically it should not be in the bus lane. But sometimes, even when you are allowed to be in the bus lane, like if there's a double parked car, it will get all the way over. It'll put the blinker on and get in the bus lane, and then put the blinker on to get out of the bus lane, when you didn't need to get all the way in the bus lane. You could have just moved over, you know, and stayed in the exact same lane that you were in. But sometimes it does that, sometimes it doesn't. That's the thing, that this street usually drives FSD a little crazy, because FSD doesn't know whether to stay in this lane or get all the way over, because sometimes you're in this lane and you do get over to go around the car and it's multiple cars double parked. So then sometimes, yeah, you do have to stay in the bus lane for a while. So like, look, this street always is double parked. literally no matter what time of day, it's always double parked cars. So, and the FSD is actually, I was talking bad about it, but it's actually handling this street pretty well, because it did get over one time, but it got immediately back over. So, and see, look at that yellow light. Why no herky jerky there? This is what I'm saying. Like, the consistency, it went through that yellow light perfectly fine. But so far it's handling this street pretty good. But once again, this is Brooklyn, and I see FSD videos all the time with other people, and these are the type of real world situations. Like I always tell people, I don't put this car in this situation on purpose. I just go to my natural, my normal day of work and going from customer to customer, and this is what I experience. So this is Rogers Ave in Brooklyn, and basically, what is this, East Flatbush or Flatbush? Well, yeah, East Flatbush. And this street is always got double parked cars. So to see how FSD handles, you know, maneuvering through Brooklyn and on a street that it's got a lot of double parked cars. It's crazy to me how I don't know if they do, because I don't live in this area, but how people are always double parked over there. Literally every day they will be double parked. There's people that's double parked, and and the crazy part is there's a parts supply place right there that I buy parts once in a while from if my other guy doesn't have them. But there's a precinct which is hilarious. There's a precinct a block before that strip that I said is always cars double parked. So it's just crazy to me that there's cars there double parked every day, and there's a precinct down the block. Just crazy. So we're actually, I didn't realize that the time went by that I'm 3 minutes away. So we should be pulling up to this customer. I guarantee you we are not gonna be able to get any type of parking. So I'm definitely gonna probably take over when I pull onto that customer's block to find parking myself. But yeah, like I said, I was talking crap, and FSD is doing a good job, because it is doing what I would prefer it to do, is get over and it doesn't have to get all the way in the bus lane all the time. Like, see, right now it doesn't need to get in the bus lane. It just got over, put the blinker over, just in case there's anybody in the bus lane. It lets them know that we're getting over because we're going around that car. Like, sometimes it will get all the way in the bus lane, then to come all the way back, which for the cars behind us, it's kind of silly, because people will think, oh, hey, he's gonna go into the bus lane, he's gonna stay in the bus lane, and the car's coming back over into that lane. So it doesn't need to go all the way into that lane for no reason.
Front K-band.
Good thing about this is that this customer, I can only imagine, I'm probably like 10 minutes from my house. Nasty little dip there. And FSD, and it's funny is that FSD is doing the right thing. It gets into the turning lane where the dashes is at. I don't know if you guys saw, but that other car a couple of blocks back, he or she was making a right turn, and they did the 100% wrong thing. They were making the right turn from this actual non-bus lane, which you're supposed to get over into the bus lane and then make your right. You're supposed to always get closest to the curb to make your right or even your left. So that car didn't do the correct thing, but FSD did. So here's a plus for FSD, because people always nitpick and complain about FSD, and they act like human drivers do everything perfect, and human drivers definitely do not. I drive all day and all the time, and I see all of the errors and things that human drivers make, but of course there's nobody sitting there critiquing it. You know, when somebody does something else in another car, there's no button to report them. You know, so actually, yeah, that's a fire hydrant. So I definitely been down this road because the car is raising the suspension, so it's gonna get over. There's really no place to park over here. What in the world? Let's see. So this is where the customer is at. 280. So I don't know where I'm going to park, but I'm gonna have to find parking. It was great chatting with you guys. Hopefully we'll get FSD 14 Lite sooner than later, and that's probably the next time I'll make another video, unless something happens, if we get another update for hardware 3. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Always like and subscribe. Peace out.